Okay, now
So
last
wait,
week we discussed about the variable names, and as a recap, right now, if you as you guys said just while ago, now when you're naming a variable, now it must, you can say it must start with what? Must start with, can it start with a number?
no sir.
No. Therefore, it can start with the letter or the underscore. It can start with the letter or the underscore. And then must not start with a number. What else? What it could contain? Only contains what? What are the things it can contain?
Letters, numbers, and underscore.
Letters. That means capital A to simple C. 0 to 9. And the underscore. Only symbol allowed is the underscore. And is it case sensitive?
Yes sir.
Yes, it's case sensitive. Yes, variable names are case sensitive and cannot use, should not, must not be a, okay, then we can say cannot use keywords. Cannot use the keywords. Right now, that you need to remember. Therefore, variables can have like even x and y. Likewise, one character names also you can have, but it's better always try to use the descriptive names. Descriptive in the sense like you should not have like this is the name. Likewise, okay, like very lengthy variable names, because if the variable names will be used in your code time to time. Then every time when you use, if you have to type a very lengthy name, then there's no point of using it. Therefore, you better have a descriptive names which anyone can understand what is that variable used for. Right. Now in Python, can we declare the variable? Can we declare a variable? Can we declare a variable? Right now,
Yes
for an
sir.
example, those who have learned Java or C Sharp or something, right now they could do it. Like now, if you are doing integer age, right? Likewise, they could declare int age or string name. Likewise, they could declare the variable type, and you can declare it. Likewise, in Python, can you declare a variable or not?
We can declare a variable sir.
How can you declare the variable?
By using the variable name, then declaring whether it's a integer, string, float or
Okay, how the variable type is defined? Now, so most of the other programming languages are like the type of the variable is decided by the programmer at the time it's declaration. But in Python, how it works?
so default is string.
No, Putu. Now, Python, remember, the variables cannot be declared. You cannot declare the variable. That means without having a value, you can't just declare the type of the variable. Then variable type get decided based on the value you assign. At the time you assign a value to the variable, type of the variable also is decided, because based on the value you assign, the type get assigned. Remember that. Based on the value you assign to the variable, the type of the variable also decided. If you assign 9, then the type of the variable would be an integer. If you assign like 5.5, then type would be a float. If you assign hello, then type would be a string. Likewise, then the type of the variable is decided at the time you assign a value to the variable. Okay, it's not like the other programming languages. The type is decided based on the value you assign. Right. Okay. Now, in order to show you that, okay, let me get a variable first. Okay, beforehand, like now, if I want to make a comment, how can I make a comment using Python? How can I make a comment using Python?
We can type it using the hashtag sign.
We can type it using hash symbol.
Yeah.
If it is one line, if you have multiple lines,
So we can use quotations, speech marks.
right now, yes, three quotations. Yes, you can use the three quotations. Like if you want to make a one line, like as a comment, then you could put the hash symbol. Like now every line you can put a hash, and then you can make it as a one line. Now this the entire line here become a comment, but rather using line by line, if you have a paragraph or something, you could use three quotations. Right now, three quotes in order to make it as a comment. Now this is how you can make it as a comment. Right. Now, okay, let's declare a variable and see. Right now, if you want to declare a variable, let's say we have variable called var. Okay, now let's say well, is over variable. I'm gonna call it as var, right? And I'm gonna assign 10. Right now, if I want to print the value, I could use the print method, and inside the print method, I can have the variable name. Okay, let's save this file first. Okay, I'm gonna save this inside my desktop for ex.py, and using the command prompt, I'm gonna access my desktop folder, and then I'm gonna read this ex.py file. Right now, this is how I print the value. Now the variable contains var, the variable name is var, and that contains 10. And we have stored 10, and then I am printing the value of the variable var. And then, right, value, okay, now I want to display like value v is 10. Okay, the value v is this variable. Okay, then I want to display some text, then I can do it. Value is, and you can type whatever the message you want to display inside double quotes and put a comma and then separate. Now value is, and then you're gonna have the variable name separated by comma. Then it will display like value is 10, like this. Right. Now I want to see the type of the variable, the type of the variable. Now what is the type? Now in Python, there's a method called type, which returns the type of the variable. Therefore, if you want to get the type of the variable, I could use the type method. Type inside the variable. Type inside the brackets, you need to have the variable name. Now this will return, now this would return the variable type. But now this will return the type of the variable, and then I want to print the type of the variable. Therefore, I'm going to put this inside this print method. Then I'm going to print the type. Now it's going to give me the variable type, and yes, let's save this. Okay, then it says class is int. Class is int. Okay, try out by assigning different values and see what is the type you are getting. Right now, okay, if you assign a different value now, okay, now let's say now here I'm not going to print this. Here I just want to print the value of the variable, right? And I'm going to have now even remember, like for the same variable, based on the value you type, based on the value you assign, the type of the variable is decided. Right now, this time I'm going to assign 10.5. I'm going to have 10.5j, and I'm going to have hello, and then I'm going to have true. Now you can see it gives me the different values. Now let's display the variable value here and the variable name, variable value and the variable name at each assignment. Now you can see here, like now first one contain 10, therefore it shows as an integer. The second one 10.5, therefore it shows as a float, 10.5j as a complex, and then string, and then boolean. Likewise, then it gives us the different values, different types, string, integer, float, complex, and then boolean. Likewise, it gives us. Now, therefore, what you have to remember now, the most important part, the type of the variable. Type of the variable. Type of the variable is assigned. Type of the variable is decided when you assign the value to the variable. Therefore, remember that type of the variable is decided at the time you assign a value to the variable. Therefore, variable type is decided based on the value you assign. Therefore, that's very important. Therefore, you cannot declare the variables in Python. Therefore, variable is created. Type of the variable is created, decided, and the variable created. Variable is created. Variable is created when you assign value to the variable. Type of the variable is decided when you assign a value to the variable. Therefore, remember. And the type can change. Now you can see here, type can change each time you assign a value to the variable. That now it's not like the other programming languages. If you declare a variable type, that will be permanent. No? Therefore, type of the variable may change, get change based on the value you assign, based on the value you assign. Type of the variable can change based on the value assigned. Therefore, remember, now these are very important, right? You have to remember if you are talking about Python, yes, you have to remember. Right. Now, this is how you talk about variables, and then let's talk about the variable types. Now, variable types we have to talk about. The variable types are, we have the numbers, the numerical values, the numbers, we have the numbers, and then we have the text, and then we have the boolean. We have the number type, the text types, and the boolean types, and then thereafter we have list types, and then we have the sequences, maps. Likewise, we have different. Then we will discuss later on the specific data structures. At the time being, we need to know about the numbers. Numbers mainly can be categorized as whole numbers are inside the int variables, and the decimal numbers are inside the float variables, and the complex numbers we have the imaginary numbers considered as the complex numbers. where the complex numbers has a real number and an imaginary number part. And the text means we have the string values and Boolean means bool values. Right now, these are the data types available. Right now, we're going to talk about. Right. Therefore, these are the by default data types available. Right now, variables can now you know that variable can store different type of data at a time, and then at a time a different type. That means a variable can have different values. Therefore, you don't have to be specific or limit. A variable can have different values. So you can see the same variable at a time. It's a integer. At this time, it's a float. At this time, it's a complex. At this time, it's a string. Now it's a bool. Like that. Now for the same variable, based on the value you assign, the type changes. And based on the type of the variable, it could do different things. It could do different activities, different functionality based on the type. And the type of the variable can be taken by using the type method. The variable, now you can get the type of the variable using the type method. Here you need to have the variable name. And this will return the type of the variable. Right. Okay. Now try some assigning some values to the variables or same variable or different variables and print the variable type as well. Quickly try out. Right. Now, you know that now the same variable can have multiple values, and each time the value changes, the type of the variable also changes. Right now, let's talk about the Python. That means variable type numbers. Right now, when it comes to numbers, as I said, a number could be a integer. That means which contain the whole numbers. It could be a float, which has the decimal values, and it could be a complex number as well. Right now, in order to identify the type of the variable, you could use the type method that you already know. Right now, integers. Right now, integer could be, right now, let's say now I'm going to have x equals 1, and let's say y is equals 0, and z is equals -1. So right now, if you print the type of the each variable, you can have the variable x type. Now this is what you call as the integers. Like you can have positive numbers, you can have positive numbers, you can have negative numbers, and you can have 0. Now whole numbers we considered as integers. Now you can see this is considered as integers. Therefore, int or integer means a whole number. Now, as under number type, int means, it's an integer, it's a whole number. Int is a whole number. Remember, int is a whole number. It could be positive, 0, or negative. It could be a positive, negative, or 0. And then it could be unlimited length. Unlimited length. You can have unlimited length. Right now, then, sorry, you can't have x. Right, you can have unlimited length numbers as for the if it is a whole number. Right now, what is the problem now? Okay, here, this is the problem. Right, okay, let's make it as a comment. I can see it displays the value and says int. Therefore, integer is a whole number. It could be a positive value, 0, or a negative value, and then it can have unlimited length. Right, now that is about the integers. Whole number, positive, negative, 0. Right, and then we have the float. When it comes to float or floating point numbers, we can call it as decimal numbers, and then it is a floating point numbers. Floating point number, and again it could be positive or a negative. It could be a positive or negative, and then again it can have many decimals. It could have many decimal values. Right, now it could have many decimal values. Right, floating point or the decimal values, you can say decimal values. Right, now let's say for this one I'm going to put right now 0 point. You can have only one value, one decimal value, or you can have multiple decimal values as well. Right, now you can see here each will give you as a floating point, float. Even it is a one decimal value or multiple decimal values, it doesn't matter, no length, and it will be if it is if there's a decimal value, then it would be a floating point. Right. Now, when it comes to floating point numbers, right now you can specify it uh, using scientific notation as well. You could specify for an example. Right now, if you want to have one E3. Right now, let's say if I define it as 1E3 or 1E minus 3. Right. Likewise, if I do it, right now, right now you can see this is a float. Right now, if you use the scientific notations, then that become a floating point number. And then if you want like 1 into 10 to the power 3, that you could write it as 1E3. And E, right, and then if you write 1E to the power minus 3, that means 1 into 10 to the power minus 3, 1 divided by 10 to the power 3, which is 1 divided by 1000. Likewise, you could write. Now, this is how you write the uh, this is how you write the values in the scientific notations like 1.5, 1.545, 546, let's say 1.546, and E3 means like 1.546 into 1000. Then you'll get 1546. Likewise, then if you want, you can have negative values as well. Right now, okay, now let's say now you will get this, something like this, and then even if you say this point, and then again you can write now okay, this is how you can write now this from 461 also going into this side, see, because divided by 1000, and this is how you represent it using floating point numbers. So, okay, try out how to represent the variables using scientific notation. Just e value and then put the number which is the power, which could be a positive value or a negative value. Okay, try out quickly. Okay, any questions up to now? Right, then quickly search about complex numbers and tell me what is a complex number. Quickly find out a complex number and tell me what is a complex number. Right, now what is a complex number? If it is a complex numbers contains what? Complex numbers contains a real number, contains a real number and an imaginary part. Imaginary part. Right now, for an example, that imaginary part means, like, for an example, if you say square root of -1, right now, square root of -1, like, it's a complex number. Right. Now, contains a real number part. There is a real number and the real number part and the imaginary number. Therefore, imaginary part. Therefore, in order to define the complex numbers, we use J in order to define the imaginary number part. Like, for an example, if I type 3J, or like now if I have 1.56J, likewise I can have the complex numbers. Right now 3J or 1.56J or minus 1.56J. Likewise, you can have positive values, negative values likewise. Then you can see when it comes to negative value, this is how it displays. Right? Now you can have the complex numbers. Complex numbers All right, if you want to define a complex number, you have to append j at the end, and then the j represent the imaginary part. The j represent the imaginary part. J represent the imaginary part. Right. Then that is about numbers we discussed, and then we have the strings. Then these are the numbers. Right. Now these are the numbers, number types. And then if you have right now under the numbers, we have integers, we have the float, and we have the complex number. Right. Then we have the string, the text. Under the text category, we have string. String. A string contains, right now, string contains what? What the string contains? String contains text values. Right now, the strings are contains what? The text contains, okay, not only text, it could be anything, therefore it's defined. Strings are defined using, you can have the single quote. Whatever the content you can have, and then do it like that. Or else you can have double quote. Or you can have three single quotes. Or you can have two double quotes. There are four ways of declaring a string. The strings again defined using single quotes or double quotes. Right. Now let's declare some set of values. Now let's say A, B, and I'm gonna have hello, my name is John. John and John, 45 years. 45 years and say that now I want to have an hash. Okay. And now I can have some characters as some symbols as well inside a string. Now, if you print it like this in single quotes, okay. All right. Now, because if I use this, what happens is that ends the this delimiter, and that's why here I'll end up by this. Okay. Now that I can't have it. Okay, this should be A, and this should be B. Right. Then the same way we could do it now. Three single quotes, two double quotes. But now you can see here why it is not printing. Okay. Now this is, you can see, this is how it would be displayed. Like now the strings can be defined using double quotes, single quotes, or three single quotes or three double quotes likewise. And then this is how you use it. Okay, try out. Uh, Okay, now we know how to write the strings as well. Right. Okay, let's see. If you have to change the data type as well, how can you do it right now? If you have to change the data type, how it is possible? Okay, now we need to try that. Let's say I have an integer x equals 10. Right. Then if I print the variable x and if I print the type of the variable, I can, okay, so I don't, okay, we'll print the variable x and we'll print the type of the variable x also. Now mentioning that x and type is type. Okay, x and then let's say we have comma type column. Right. Now this will print the type as well. Now it will display like the value and then it will display as this comma type column and then the class. Right. Now, if I want to convert this into a, let's say, float. If I want to convert this into a float, let's say now I can use the I can convert the data type using type conversion method. I could say x equals right now. Okay, like we could try out using y. Okay, let's say y is equals float x. Now, and I'm going to print the x value and the y value here. Okay, try out this and tell me what will be the output. Right, now this is how you convert integer number. Now the firstly, x is an integer number to a float, and integer to a complex number. Then the type changes to float and complex. Now you can see, if you have an integer, then if you want to convert into a float, then that's how you can do. Now also, let's say, now apart from this, if I have a equals in in words 10, and if I try to convert this into b, okay, now let's say a is equals 10 now, right? And then I'm going to say a is equal float a. Okay, print the value of the variable a and tell me the type of the variable a now. Print the value of the variable a and the type of the variable a. What it gonna be? Right now, if you try this now, you can see A, previously A was an integer now, and then it has changed to a float. Right now, that also you need to remember. And also, let's say if I have as a string, I have saved A. Now, if I print the type of the variable A now, it's gonna be a string now. Say P, and then I'm gonna print the type of the variable P, and I'm gonna have variable Q, and I'm gonna convert into an okay. First of all, we'll finish this. Okay, right now. Okay, now we are done with the converting integer to. We have done convert into integers. Right now, let's try to convert. Now we have the integer x, and then let's say a. I'm going to say s equals. I'm going to convert into a string variable. S equals string x. Now, if you print the type of the variable, now s. Now you can see it becomes a 10, which is a string now. This is how you convert integer to string values. Integer to this is how we convert to a float. This is how we convert to complex. This is how we convert to a string. Right now, please try convert and send me the code, please, via chat. Convert float to int, complex, integers, complex, and then for the string. Right. Okay, and do this and send it to me. And convert complex to integer, float, and string whether it is possible. And then try to convert string to integer, float, and complex. Okay, try to do these things and send me the code, please, via chat. Okay, only one has sent me the answers. Others also quickly send me. Right, then, okay, let me. Okay, now, who has sent me the answers? Okay, Mithri has sent me a Hitman and Rashid. Okay, let's take one. You have float value, you convert into integer, you convert into complex, you convert into a string, and then you print. And then you have complex number, you convert into a integer float string. And then you have string value, you convert into an integer float and complex. Right. Okay, there is an error. What's the error? It says the argument must be string bytes like objects or real numbers, not complex. B equals in A right now. Okay, what would be the problem here now? Yes, what could be the problem here? Now, how can we fix this? Can we convert the string to a number, or it is possible or not, or if not, how can you do that? What do you think? What is the reason? Right now, here, what is the problem here now? Right now, let's say here, if you pass it like this, what? Now, here, right now, where it comes here and now, not from here right now. We haven't, okay, it's my bad. Okay, what was the issue here? Right now, we have not checked the line number. Then line number 10, we have to check first thing. Okay, in line number 10, okay, here, this should be the line number 10. Okay, in line number 10, it says what? A is a complex number right now. This is a complex number. Therefore, it says what? Argument must be a string. That means byte-like objects or real number, not a complex number. Therefore, remember, you cannot convert integer, complex number to an integer. Therefore, you cannot do that. Why? Because integer method, int method, it says the argument. Argument means the sense and what you have passed inside the brackets must be a string. Must be a string and a byte-like object or real number, not complex. Therefore, it could be a string or an object, byte-like object, or a real number. Therefore, you cannot be a complex number. Right. Therefore, let's make it as a comment. Right. Therefore, now we cannot do that. Okay. Let's check whether can we convert it to a float. Then again, for the float, what it says, argument must be a string or a real number, not a complex number. Therefore, complex numbers cannot remember. Complex numbers cannot convert to a float. Complex numbers cannot convert to a float. Now, then converting complex number to a string, then converting a complex number to a string. Right now, whether it is possible? Yes, it is possible. Right now, here you can see in the first one, we have done. Right now, let me have first three is for this converting a float into int, complex, and string, and the last one is from converting complex number to a float string, and the last one is converting string into a integer, or float, or a complex. Right, the same thing. Can we do it? Can we try now? You can see you can convert string into a float, string into integer, string into a complex type. So likewise, can we do it? If you have the word 10, now you can see here. Right now, this is a value error, like in line number 27. This is line number 26. Line number 27. What? Invalid literal for int with base 10, because the 10 is in letters. Therefore, that you cannot convert to a integer. Therefore, you cannot convert it to a number. Therefore, it is not possible. Therefore, remember that as well. You cannot convert into a number because it is a word. Right. Okay. What is the summary you need to remember now? Okay, converting, like in order to convert it to an integer, you can use this method. In order to convert into a float, you could use this method. In order to convert into a complex, you could use this method. In order to convert into a string, we could use this method. Like now, again, you can have you can copy this as well. What is this? Argument. Argument must be a string or byte-like object or real number, not complex. If it is a float method arguments must be real number. Argument must be a string, real number, not complex. And for complex, right, for the complex numbers right now, you can see for the complex numbers we have passed. When you were to come, we have passed the integers, we have passed floats, we have passed strings, therefore it works. And for the string, it works for all the types, integers, numbers right now, for everything. Now this is where we have the limitations. If you want to convert into integer or a float, remember it could be a string or a real number. Right? Complex numbers cannot be converted to an integer and float. There's a reason behind that. Why? Because the imaginary numbers or the complex numbers has the imaginary part. Therefore, that part cannot be converted to a string. Sorry, that part cannot be converted to an integer or a float. That is the reason. Right. Any questions? Please ask.
Sir, can we convert an integer into a boolean?
Okay, why don't we try? Okay, let's okay. Now in order to convert into a boolean, right now, okay, let's try out whether can we convert into a boolean. Now we have to talk about the booleans next. Okay, there is a method called right. Okay, now we have discussed about this integer, float, complex, and string. Now there's a method called boolean as well. Bool. Right, using this method, you could try converting integers, numbers, and see whether how can you do it. Now, for an example, first thing, if you have okay, let's talk about the Boolean variables as well. But the Boolean variable, right now, Boolean variables can contain only two values. Right now, Boolean variables can only contain either true or false. Therefore, Boolean variable can only contain true or false. Right now, if you assign x equals true, and then if you print the x variable and the type of the variable x, and if you assign the same thing Now you can see you can have true and false values. Right now, okay, try to convert, okay, let's say now numbers into Boolean, right? And whether if you pass a number to a Boolean, whether it will return true or false. Like now for you can try negative numbers, 0 or positive numbers in integers. And same thing you could try with the floating points. Try converting and then you can pass a string to a Boolean. And then try out and tell me how we can convert to a Boolean. Now this is the method you could use to convert into a Boolean. And whether what will return, whether it is a true or false. Okay, quickly try out and tell me. Right now, what you're gonna get, we have to convert, not put a Boolean to complex. Okay, we'll see what's gonna happen. Okay, it's a good thing. Okay, good initiation. Right, right. Okay. Now this is what someone has sent me. Right, let's try out what can happen now. Hmm. Now you can see you have A equals true and B is equals false. Right, that's fine. And then you try to convert, you're going to print the C value by converting it to a complex. Then it has converted to 1. And then you are converting it to a string. Then it's converted to a string and same as true. And you convert into a Boolean right now. Okay, anyway, it's going to be a Boolean, right? Okay, why don't we try to convert into a float? Right. Why don't we convert it to a float? Then you get 1.0. Right now, let's do the same thing again. try to convert the B value. That means the float values. Right. Now you can see when you convert the float value, B is float to false to a complex number, then it becomes 0. Right now, previously when you convert a true to a complex number, it became 1. And then when you try to convert false to a string, it comes as a false. And when you try to convert boolean to a false to a float number, then it gives us 0.0. Okay, then additionally, let's try out f equals int a, and let's try to convert it to an integer as well, and then see how it gonna give us. Right now, when you convert a true value to an integer, it gives us 1. And then when you convert a 0 or a false value into an integer, it gives us 0. Therefore, remember these as well. Right now, when you try to convert a true value into a number, it gave us 1. And when you convert a false value into a number, it gave us 0. Okay, quickly try out this as well. And then for numbers like 1, 2, 3, negative value 0, if it is the integer converted to a boolean, what's going to happen? Find out and show it to me. Right, now let's say we have an integer which is 1. Okay, let's say 1 or positive value. Okay, let's say 10. I want to convert into a boolean and then find out what is the answer. Right now, tell me if you convert 1 or if you convert 10 or if you convert 0, if you convert minus 10 or minus 100 or let's say 1000, what's going to happen? The values, the when you convert into boolean, and if it is 1.5 or like 1000.5 something like this, 100 point something, and then 0 point something, and then minus. Right, now convert this into a and then hello to a boolean, hi to a boolean, false to boolean, true to boolean. Right, now try to convert and see. And then you have an empty string. You have empty string. Right. Okay. Now convert these into booleans and then tell me what is the answer. And also false and so true and false and then true and 1.5j 0j minus. Okay, convert into a boolean and then figure out what it can return and then tell me quickly. Send me via chat, please. Right, let's convert and see now. Okay. Let's say now I'm gonna print you want the value as well. $1,000, $2,000, 1 and then 0, and then -10, and then we have some negative value, so value, and then 0.0, and last one. Right, then we will convert into I, A, true, then we'll have true, false, and then we have empty string, and then we have Boolean values, and then we have some set of complex numbers. Let's have 3 complex numbers. 1j, 0j, minus 10j. Now you can see here for what values it gives us true and for what values it gives us false. So read this and tell me. Basically, for numbers, what is the summary you can say? For numbers, what it will print the true when you convert it to bool if it is a text. For what values it will print it? If it is complex numbers, okay, numbers we have no? For numbers and text, tell me for what it will return true and what it will return false. Okay, look at the answers and tell me quickly.
So for any positive and negative ones, we get
Sorry?
true, and for zero, it's false.
Yeah, when it comes to numbers, for what values it will return true?
Positive and negative values.
Any number it is true, is it? Okay, now
Yes.
let's say for 1,000 true, 1 true. Okay, let's highlight. Okay, for the 1,000 it is true, 1 it is true, for 0 it's false. -10 true, -1,000 true, 100 point something is true, 1.5 true, 0.0, that is false. 10 -10.5 true, minus 1,000 point something it is true, and 1j is true, and -10j true, 0j is false. Therefore, now you can say any number it is true except the what? Numbers, when it comes to numbers, that means what? Any number is true, any number is true except 0. Because if it is 0, it gives us the false. Even if it is a 0.0 or 0j or 0, it gives us false. Except any other value, if it is a number, it will give us true. When it comes to strings, when it comes to string, now what it gives us? Right, for high it is true, for triple a true, true is true, capital true is true, false is true, capital false also true, and therefore now you can see here it gives us true. Like now, do I have any? I have this one part. Okay, let's say without having anything. Without having, if we with an empty string, if we convert to an empty string right now. Now you can see here it is true, 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 true for the numbers except 0. And for the high, it's true, some text true, simple true, true, capital TRUE true, a simple false true, capital false true. And only if it is empty string, it gives us false. If you convert true into true, a Boolean value true into true, it is true. Boolean value false into false, it is false. And here, complex numbers, any number except 0 converted to true, it's true, 0 is false. Therefore, as a summary, now you can say what? When it comes to numbers, any string is true, any string is true, except empty string or null string. Except empty string. Therefore, any number is true except 0. Any string is true except empty string. Therefore, remember this. This is what, if you convert to a Boolean value, if it is a 0, it will return false. Any other number, it will return true. If it is a string, if it is an empty string, it will return false. Any other value, it will return true. Therefore, keep that in your mind. This is how we convert into a Boolean into a, sorry, any other number into a Boolean. Right, now we know how to convert to an integer, to a float, to a complex number, to a string, and to a Boolean value as well. Now remember, importantly, when you convert a value to a Boolean, right, if it is a number, But if any numbers, it will return true except 0. If it is a string, it will return true except empty string. If it is, that's what you need to remember when it comes to converting values into Boolean, right? Okay, quickly try out. If you have any questions, please ask. Right? Right. Then, let's say now if I have a variable called address, there's a variable called address, right? The variable called address, then you need to store the address. Then, let's say number 1, 2, 3, comma, and I'm gonna have number 1, 2, 3, comma, uh, main street, comma, downtown street, downtown. Let's say downtown and in by the US. Okay, let's say we have some address like this. Now, can I store like this? If not, what? Okay, if I try to print this, I want to print the address. How can I print the address? And whether can I save it like this? If not, now you know how to declare the string variables, and then try one of the way we discussed 4 ways: single quotes, double quotes, 3 single quotes, 3 double quotes, and use one of those, and then check whether how can we use it and whether it printed in this format or not. If you want to print in this format, how can you do it? That's for you. That's your question to find out, figure out.
So we can use line break in Python.
Yes, we can use line breaks in Python. Okay, now how can we save this? Now, can we do it like this using using just single quotes or double quotes? Can we save it?
So we can't have that variable like that.
We can't have that, is it? Okay,
We
let's
can't
try.
have it.
Okay, then I have not saved it, seems. Let's save it. Right now, let's clear this first. Right now, it says unterminated string literals, therefore we can't. Right, okay. Therefore, now, how can we, okay, there is a situation where I want to store, okay. Can I use 3 double quotes? Oh, 3 single quotes, and then let's figure out. Right, yes, if I use 3 double quotes, yes, it works. And if I use 3 single quotes, will it work? Let's figure out 3 single quotes. Yes. Now, if I have some space like this, now you can see as the way I have typed. Now, when you have a multi-line string, then you can use 3 quotes, 3 single quotes or 3 double quotes. It doesn't matter. Right now, remember 3 single quotes or 3 double quotes. Now, the result output also would be the same as the way you have defined. Output also would be the same as the way you have designed. That means the line breaks, the spacers given would be same as the given. Right now, rather doing it like this, if I want to type in the same line, how can I do that? Oh, let's say now I have a problem now. Let's say I have message. Let's say variable called message. I have variable called message and saying what? This is a warning. And for the warning, I want to have highlighted. The warning should be inside the quotes. Warning. This is the warning for you. This is the warning for you. Likewise. Now, if I try to save this, will it work? Will it work? Now, if I try to run it, now it will give you an error saying, okay, you have started the double quotes and then here it has finished. Thereafter, again, you have put a text without having this. Therefore, now there is an error here. That's why here it is highlighted. Now see? Okay, what if I use single quotes here? Will it work? I'm going to use single quotes and try out. Now you can see since I have used single quotes, yes, it is working. But what if I'm using single quotes and I want to have single quotes here? Then I will not be able to do this, right? See, then again there will be an issue. Therefore, right now, anyway, if it is a situation right now, you want to have, okay, let's say now the delimiter here we have used again the double quotes, but again, here also I want to highlight this word using double quotes, right? If you have such a situation, how can you handle it now? How can you handle it? Now, for that, there is some characters, like we call it as escape characters. Now, escape characters, therefore, escape characters, that means in order to use an illegal character, that means if it violates the string rules, then you could use the escape characters. Now, escape character is a backslash. Escape character is a backslash followed by the character you want to insert. Like, since this is illegal here, you can't have it here. Why? Because you have already started the string from single quotes and end from the single quotes. Therefore, in between you can't have this thing. Therefore, this is illegal. Therefore, if you want to have this, you need to use the escape character. Now, this is the escape character. See? And the end also, this is the escape character. Then you could use the escape character, which is the backslash. Backslash followed by the character you want to insert. Then that is what you call as the escape character. See? Now you could print inside. Therefore, this is how you use the escape characters. Now, if you want to have single quotes, if you want to have double quotes, then you could use like this. Right now, these are the escape characters. Now you can have single quotes, you can have the double quotes, right? And then if you want to have a slash here, if you want to have a slash, now let's say if I want to print like yes or no something. Yes or no. Right, now I want to print like yes or no. Then again you will get an error saying Unicode escape codec can't decode by bytes in position. Therefore, now here Unicode escape, and therefore which is illegal to use. Therefore, but if you really want to use it, then use it with the backslash. Then what will happen? It will print the slash. See, it will print yes or no. Therefore, here if you want to print the backslash, you could do it like this. Right. Sometimes now I want to print something and go to the next line. Okay, and I want to say yes. Okay, now if I want to print my name is, let's say, John. Right, and then I want to go to the next line. Therefore, I can use slash n. I'm from you. Right, let's say now I want to put the slash n. Therefore, if you use the slash n, remember, that go to the new line or the next line. Now it will print up to this point. My name is John. And it will hit the enter key, or likewise it will go to the next line because of slash n, and then it prints I am from you. Right. Then that is what you call as a slash n. Right now, sometimes I want to display some values. Right now, here this is to print a single quote. This is to print double quote. This is to print slash. That is to print new line. And if you want to go for some space, if you want to leave some tab space, then you can use for slash t, which is the tab space. Right now, for an example, you have a column called name and the age. Let's say name, first name and the last name, F name, and you need to have some space and the L name. Right now, if you do it like this, and let's say now here I have some lines like this, F name, L name, and then B and C. Let's say John, and Thomas. Right now we have something like this, and then I'm going to print A. I'm going to print B. Right now the problem here is now you can see there is no okay, A, B, and C. Now you can see there is no alignment now. There is not, the text is not aligned. Therefore, if you want rather keep in the space, if you want to put a tab space here, then rather keep in the spaces, you could use the slash T. Therefore, it will type, print the text and then keep the tab space and then it will align. See, like this, it will align. But even like having separate strings, like you could have it in the same line. Okay, after this, you want to print, you want to go to the next line, right? Therefore, you could put slash and then you could print this. John Cena. And then afterwards, again, you need to go to the next line, slash and go, right. And then you just need to print A. You don't need to print multiple lines. See, right now it's easier. Now you could do this. And you can have the slash B for backspace, and you can have the octal values, and then you can have the right, then you can have the slash B if you want to have backspace. Let's say again, I'm going to try run. Okay. Hello Python. And if I want to have, if I type like slash B, if it is a slash B, that is for the backspace. Right now, if I print like hello Python and with the slash B, now you can see now the space has been removed. Because of this space has been removed, because you have, if you press the backspace, that's what's going to happen, right? Therefore, that's what happens if you use the backspace. Right, and then you can have the slash R also. Try to figure out what is slash R does. Right now, if you use the slash R, what will happen? I'm going to use slash R, and here I'm going to. Now you can see what happens right now. Here, it will print hello first, and then slash R. Slash R is to take the cursor. Now the difference between, now this is the carriage return. Right now you call it as carriage return. Carriage return. Now what this does now, new line, will create a new line. Take the cursor to the new line. Right. Take now here, takes the cursor to the beginning of the same line. Now this is the difference. Now if you use the slash n, what it does, slash n takes you to the what? Slash n takes you to the new line, but if it is slash r, slash n will create a new line, And but if it is /r will take the cursor to the beginning of the same line. Right, therefore that's why it prints hello, and then again the cursor comes to beginning. That's why it just print only Python. It's just print only Python because the cursor taken back to the beginning of the line. The cursor takes the cursor to the beginning of the same line without going to the next line. Now remember that. Now this is the carriage return. You should remember this as well. What happens when you use the carriage return? Remember this. And then we have, if you want to have some octal values, we can have, right now, we can use the octal values here. Right now, what is the octal value? Uh, 65 octal value. What is the octal value of 65? Okay, 101. Okay, now if it is slash 400, we can say octal values, and then if you want to print the octal values, let's say I just want to say /101. Now 101 is the representation of 65. Now 101 is the octal value. Octal value means here this represent 8 to the power 0 octal value. Therefore, this is 8 to the power 1. This is 8 to the power 2. 8 to the power 2 means the 8 to the power 2 is 64. 8 to the power 1 means 8. No 8s, therefore 0. And 8 to the power 0 means 1. There is only 1, 1. Therefore, 64 plus 1 is 65. Therefore, you can see 65 is the ASCII code of, there is a code word called ASCII. Then for the ASCII codes, 65 represent capital A. Capital A represented by 65 in ASCII codes. Therefore, now, now A is represented by 65 code word. Now, previously, if I talk about ASCII, this is called as American Standard Code Word. Now, previously, we were not able to read and write Sinhala codes as Sinhala fonts, and with respect to the Unicode only, we are able to write Sinhala text messages, read Sinhala articles likewise, using the Sinhala fonts, because previously there was no Unicode, then there was only 7-bit ASCII codes. That means there were code use 7 bits, then you could use 2 to the number of 7 number of combinations in order to represent symbols. Then there will be only 128 combinations previously. Then capital A represented by 65, and then capital A to C, and simple A to C, and thereafter some number 0 to 9 numbers, and some special characters were only mapped into code words using ASCII. And then capital A is represented using 65. Then if I try out 45, okay, let's say 50. Okay, 50. How to convert 50 into using octal? Like if I want to represent 15 octal, how can I do that? Right now, if I want to print 50 in octal, right? How can you do this? Now 50 in octal. Right now, okay, then here we can write 062, or let's say, how can you do that? Let's try it out, find out. 50, right? 50, 50, like now, let's say 50 divided by 8, or like, let's say now octal forms, no? Then how to represent 50? How do you convert 50 to octal? Then 50 divided by 8, we can see 50 divided by 8 is 6, which is 48, and remaining is 2. 50 divided by 8 is 6 with the remainder of 2. And if you divide 6 divided by 8 is remainder, or C, that means cannot divide, therefore remainder is 6. Therefore 0, 6, 2. Let's say 0, 6, 2. Now 8 to the power 0, 2, 8 to the power 1, which is 6, and 8 to the power 2. Now this is 0, no 64s, and 8 to the power 1 is 8. 8 into 6 is 48. And 8 to the power 0 is 1. 1 into 2 is 2. 48 plus 2, you could write that as 50. Now 50. Now let's say if you write 50 in octal forms, what it would be right now 062 in octal form. Okay, don't worry about this. Now you can see number 2 is represented by 48. Now if it is 61, then it's going to be 41. You can see 1. If it is 63, right now you can see it is 3. Likewise, you can see the octal forms. Like in order to search about this, in order to learn about this, now search about ASCII codes and ASCII codes, and then how to convert decimal to octal. Find out if the decimal value of capital A is 65. Therefore, in order to represent 65 in octal, we use 101. And likewise, we use. Therefore, if you want to learn further, therefore quickly search about ASCII codes and the decimal codes. Right now, if you want to represent ASCII codes, or if you want to represent octals in your code, if you want to represent an octal in your code, capital octal value of 101 is right now. Let's say 101 is A. Right now, octal value of 101 is A. It will print A. Right now, this is how you print the octal values. Right now, if you want to print the octal values in your code, then you have to use the slash 3 zeros. Right now, if you want to try out with the hexadecimal values, that also possible. If you want to try out the hexadecimal value, now hexadecimal values. Therefore, what is hexadecimal value? Right now, octals values contains like now you can see 0 to 8 now. They've always like in a value, in octal value. Let's say if you have 3 placeholders, now this can go only up to 0 to 8. And then it goes to next likewise. Then if it is an hexadecimal values are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 means A, B, Z likewise it goes. Therefore again, if I want to convert 65, 65 into hexadecimal values, how to do that? 65 in hexadecimal values. Right now, if you want to convert, okay, can someone try to convert 65 to hexadecimal values? How can you represent hexadecimal values? Up to 16 we have now. You start from 0 and it goes up to F hexadecimal values. Right now, each represent a decimal value. Right now, okay, let me write this clearly. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, including F60. Now this means these are the values, like we have this represents 0, 1. That means 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, and then this is 16. Okay, no, not 16, no, 0, 8, 9, okay. This is science. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 is missing. And then only up to 15 we have. Therefore, now, if I want to display 65, if I want to write 65 in hex, now 65 divided by 16, how many? How many, like 65 divided by 16?
4, sir.
4, right? What is the remaining value?
1.
Of 64, and then it is 1. Therefore, 4 divided by 16, can you divide 4 divided by 16? No, therefore remainder is 4. Therefore, 0, 4, 1. 0, 4, 1 we could write in hexadecimal values. Therefore, we could write as a hexadecimal value 0, 4, 1. Therefore, let's try out the hexadecimal value. Therefore, what is the format of hexadecimal values? Then we have right now slash x slash x values, and then let's print like this. Slash x 4. Now, what is the error we have now? In line number 17. Okay, here. Okay, now there's an error. Right now, what would be the error here? Codec can't decode bytes in position. Right now, what would be the reason? Right, let's clear this first. In line number 17. X41, I should. Unicode escape codec. Cannot figure out. Right. What do you think? What is the problem here? Let's try to figure out how to print the hexadecimal values. Now, this is the error we have. You have to use backslash followed by the x, backslash followed by the x, and the hexadecimal value, it should print it. Why it is not? Backslash followed by the x. It should print. Okay, try to figure out how to fix this. Okay, there is an issue anyway. What was the issue? Right now, there is an issue here as well. What is the issue? No, even in this line also I am getting an error now. What is the issue here? Okay. Right now I'm getting this. Okay, let's try this one. That is because of inside the comment when I try to do this. X value of 41 is X value of 41. How to represent this? Slash X 41. It should display A. Right now, that is likewise you should be able to print. Therefore, now search about hexadecimal values, and here the error was here when I print like /x /x Now this is where we got the error. Right now, right. Therefore, remember this is how we could use the escape sequences. Therefore, as a exercise, now I wanted you to print this output. It has to print. Send me the code as a last exercise. Let's say name space age city. Yeah, this thing I want you to print using character escape sequences. Like in order to do this, I want you to use only one print statement. Using only one print statement, I want you to print this. Using only one print statement, I want you to print this. Okay, quickly try out and tell me how, send me the answer, how we can do it. So quickly send me the answer via chat. Only using only one print statement, I want you to print this, okay? Right, anyone finished? Okay, I received one. Let's try out this line. Okay, let's make it as a comment. Right, now let's remove this. Okay, the name is city chain 25. Okay, yes. Okay, this is how you can do it. Right, you can say name, tab space, age, tab space, city, new line, then Jane, tab space, and then double quotes, 25, double quotes, tab space, a single quotes, UK, single quotes, a new line, and tab space, single quote, 15, single quotes, tab space, double quotes, USA, backslash, UK, and then single quotes. Now this is how you get the output. Right, very good. Right, now any questions up to now you have, please ask. Now the next day we have to start with the operators. Then Python operators we're going to talk next day. Any questions up to now? You can ask now, please.